Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome to my class. So in our previous lecture, we discussed about cloud computing, what cloud computing is, and we found out that it's a way of provisioning our core infrastructure like our servers, our storage, database, and networking on the cloud, and being accessed over the internet securely as well. So moved on to discuss different types of cloud service models that we have. We talked about infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and also software as a service. Then we went ahead to discuss different cloud deployment models of how we have public cloud, private cloud, hybrid, and the multi-cloud. The private cloud, public cloud is more it's a cloud computing where cloud resources such as our servers, storage applications are owned by the third party cloud providers and made available to the general public to provision their infrastructure there as well. We also have private cloud. Private cloud is more like our data center where we provision where we have our infrastructure running on-prem and just like your corporate environment where you have your data center, you have your routers, you have your switches, your servers running there, and on there you run your software applications, and also where your users or your customers will also consume them as well. You also have a private cloud where the cloud provider will dedicate an environment for you, just like maybe the government and the also other security purpose as well. Security bodies that can request for that as well. So just your box, your money speaks. You can have that. Then you also have the hybrid where we can have the combination of these two. Just like you can have your some of your resources running on-prem and some of them running on cloud as well. And the multi-cloud will have different when you're making different use of different cloud providers, maybe Azure and also Google, and they are deploying your services on those tools to avoid vendor locking. So moving on to what we're going to discuss today, we're going to discuss about going to understand how AWS operates, AWS region and availability zone, and after that we're going to look into IAM, AWS IAM accounts as well. So how AWS operates? AWS operates in region. So let me use MTN as an example. MTN has their branches in different regions. Let me say Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, Enugu, Imo State are regions. Then taking using Lagos for example as a point of reference, Lagos is a region. You understand? Then inside Lagos, which is this region you are seeing here now, this big white space, we might have different availability zones. So those availability zones are different data centers running inside Lagos, different MTN data centers running inside Lagos. Let me say one of the data center is located at Lekki Island. The other one is located at Ikeja, and this other one is located at Surulere. You understand? Mainland. So those are different MTN data centers. Why they will have multi different data centers in one region is for redundancy. In case if this one fails, the other one will still also be running. So just to serve and ensure that their customers' services are up and running at all time. Yeah, it's highly available. So if you're deploying your software applications, your database, for example, this guy, you won't deploy it on one availability zone, because imagine if the branch at Surulere went down and if you are running a very critical mission service on that availability zone, thing went down because of power outage or whatsoever, and your users are not able to access this application or service again, no, they might opt for their competitor. No, we are in an era of very competitive market these days. So we would like to have such experience if your users such bad experience. So if you're deploying your applications, your software, you always deploy them on multi-availability zone. So that's what availability zone is all about. So availability zones are inside region. Then moving on to AWS accounts, we're going to look at this thing in a little bit in our AWS account. Let me just give you an overview of that. So IAM account, IAM is used for managing our users, groups, permission, and roles. So we create groups and we assign users to those groups to easily manage permission of them. So let me say we have a bunch of developers, our HR recruits. I'm going to create a group for them and add them to this group and attach security permissions to security permission to this group that will give them access to what they are required to do on our AWS platform. The same thing with the DevOps, we create and also assign rules to them. Then we also have rules. Rules are for assigning permissions to our AWS services. You understand? There are some AWS services that might need access that might require to access other services. Let me say EC2 instance might require access to might need to access S3 bucket as well. No worry, we are still going to look into that later on in this course and see how we can do that as well. So, but having said that, having given you this kind of overview, let's jump right into our course and you see how it looks like. So I'm going to go to my AWS platform. This is my platform. This is my console. I'm going to go directly. I'm going to search for. If you click here, you're going to see. You're going to look for it, but I'm going to just search for it. IAM. Okay. Before I go into IAM, I want to show you. The AWS environment and how it looks like. So you can see on your top left corner here, you're going to see the region. If you click here, you're going to see different AWS region that we have. You're going to see the US North Virginia region, US Ohio, California, the rest of them, Mumbai, Singapore, Tokyo. When it comes to Asia region, we come to Europe region, we have Ireland, London. So the idea of region is when we are deploying our services, we want to deploy our services closer to our customers or closer to us. So I'm in Nigeria and my customer is in Nigeria. Obviously, I'm going to look for a region that is closer to me, which is most likely Ireland or London. So, but for this guy, for this demo, I'm going to be using North Virginia. North Virginia is always going to be the default, but it's always advised for you to not to use North Virginia because it's the most region that goes down because of the services are being deployed there or whatsoever. So, having said that, giving you an overview of how region looks like, I can go to my IAM service and show you how you can use this guy to create rules, groups, and users and permissions for them. Give them permissions. So I'm going to go to my users group. Right now, I'm only having one group. I'm going to create another group. I'm going to name them developer group. Let me say developer SG security group. It's going to ask me, it's going to show me what kind of permission do I want to assign to this group. So any person that is going to be a member of this group is going to have access to this permission. I'm going to assign this guy EC2 full access. So I want all my developers to have access to all the EC2s. So anybody that is assigned to this developer group is only going to have access to EC2 instance on AWS. It's not going to have access to any other resources. I'm going to create this my group. Very easy, very simple. After I'm done creating my group, you can see number of users assigned 0. So I'm going to create a user now and assign it to that guy. So I'm going to come here, create user. I'm going to name this guy user 1. I'm going to by default click next. Then going to ask me what group do you want to assign this guy to. I'm going to click assign it to this developer SG group that I just created. I'm going to click next, then give me an overview of what I've been configured. I'm going to create this user. Then in a search while my user will be created, see it here, user 1. I'm going to go to that user, click on it. I'm going to set up a console access to this user. You can see by default this user doesn't have a console access, so even if this user log into the console, he can't log into our AWS platform because there is no password set here. I'm going to enable console access to this user. I'm going to click enable. It's going to ask me, do I want to auto-generate password? I'm going to say no. I want to give it a custom password. I'm going to send to this user. So you can make sure your password meets these requirements. Then I'm going to click. You can choose to enable the user to change. It's always advisable to click user must create a new password at first login. So when giving this default password, when the user logs in, it's going to automatically prompt the user to change password. But due to this a demo, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to remove that and click apply. So my console access is set. So you can easily download this CSV file and share to this user, and this user will have access to your AWS console. All these details they are seen on this page now is on this console login. So, but for me, I'm going to copy this console login URL and go to my AWS console, to my browser, and paste it. So it's going to take me directly to my AWS account to sign in, instead of going to www.aws blah 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 blah. So going to the user I created is user 1, and then the password I created is I'm going to put my password, then I'm going to log in. So login, logged in, very easy, very straightforward. So going to click on this EC2 and show you that I have, just to verify that I actually have access to this guy. So you can see it's showing that I have 3 EC2 instances, and I click that, I can see those EC2 instances. I can start them, I can stop them, I can terminate them because I have full access to that guy. But if I go to RDS, for example, to show you that our policy is actually working, you will see that this user doesn't have access to the guy, to this RDS resource. So I go to RDS bar, it's going to give me an error that this user is not authorized to perform RDS describe DB cluster. So if my job requires me to have access to this guy, I can copy this error message like this and they send to my cloud admin, or to give me access to this RDS, and he will provision access for me. So having said that, these we'll come to the end of this course, to the end of this lecture, and I thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to my video. See you in the next lecture.